Welcome to Bold and Beautiful with a glass of wine, the safe spot for women to come bare and be vulnerable and not be judged by it. Pouring their hearts out and speaking the truth of what they've been through and still going through to societal construct of what's expected of them. Together we're strong, together we'll overcome. So now, take a sip, take a deep breath, relax, block out the noise. Now let's talk. Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. My name is Flora Chiedo. Welcome to Bold and Beautiful with a Glass of Wine podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to continue with the series I have where I spoke to some survivors in the Dorothy Injemanze Foundation whom she's accommodating in her shelter. You know, I spoke to an underage girl that was raped. I spoke to women that went through domestic violence. And today I will be talking about a lady that went through child sexual abuse. She was 14 when she went through the abuse. And she was abused by her uncle for 7 years. So before you hear her voice, I'm just going to do a little breakdown on child sexual abuse. Child sexual abuse is a form of child abuse that includes sexual activity with a minor. People need to understand that a child cannot give consent. I would always say that a minor can never give you consent. There is nothing like an underage girl of anything less than 18 give you consent to have sex with her. It's not possible. They cannot give you consent. When a perpetrator engages with a child this way, they are committing a crime that can have lasting effect on the victim for years. Now, it has nothing, because at the end of the day, it's just your 5 minutes of pleasure. But this your 5 minutes of pleasure can have a long-lasting effect on the victim. It can affect this victim for years. Your 5 minutes of pleasure. When a perpetrator intentionally harms a minor physically, psychologically, sexually, or by act of neglect, the crime is known as child abuse. Child sexual abuse does not need to include just physical contact alone between a perpetrator and a child. We have different forms of child sexual abuse. You know, we have different forms like exposing oneself to a minor. You know, when you are fondling with a minor, having sexual intercourse with a minor, masturbating in the presence of a minor, or forcing the minor to masturbate is so disgusting. Obscene conversations in front of a minor, having phone calls, text messages, or digital interaction of any type with a minor. You know this person is a minor. Even on social media, you know this person is a minor. You know this person is about, is less than 18 years old. And you see me sending them some obscene, messages. I really do not understand it. Like, you're producing and owning or sharing pornographic images or movies of children. That is child sexual abuse. Even sex of any kind with a minor, including either vaginal, oral, or anal sex of any type, is an abuse to a child. Even sex trafficking is an abuse. Any other contact of a sexual nature that involves a minor, as long as it's a minor, that is child sexual abuse. A child can never give you consent. A minor can never give you consent. There is no reason why you should be aroused by a minor. Abusers can manipulate victims to stay quiet about sexual abuse using a number of different tactics. You would have situations where people tell you things like, I was told not to talk, keep your mouth shut. If you talk, I will do this to you. If you tell anybody about it, I'll do this to you. And then you subject these people to staying silent and not telling anybody about it and having to go through this, damaging their future. An abuser will use their position of power over the victim to coerce or intimidate the child. They'll be telling the child that the activity is normal, or that they're even manipulating children to believe that they enjoyed it. I can't wait for you to hear what this my guest has to say on how she was coerced and manipulated into being molested as a child. An abuser will be making threats to a child if the child refuses to participate or participate in things like this. Child abuse is not just a physical violation. It is a violation of trust and authority. Every year, we have like millions of girls around the world face sexual abuse and exploitation. Sexual violence occurs everywhere. In every country and across all segments of society, a child can be subjected to sexual abuse or exploitation at home, at school, and even in their community. Even in their church, anywhere they find themselves at, they are being subjected to sexual-based violence. And most often, abuse occurs at the hands of someone a child knows and trusts. That's the crazy part. Most times, this abuse that they go through is always in the hands of people they actually trust. It's either it's a neighbor, it's either it's a relative, it's either it's someone that takes care of them, it's either a teacher, it's a pastor. It's always, most times, it's always someone they trust and have come to know. So that way, they get to manipulate the child to staying quiet. At least 120 million girls under the age of 20 have been forced to engage in sex or perform other sexual acts. I mean, although the actual figure is likely much higher because most of these cases are not reported. We have roughly about 90% of adolescent girls who report forced sex, and they always say their first perpetrator was someone they knew. Most of the time, it's always someone they're familiar with, someone they've happened to trust, someone their family happens to trust. People need to understand that sexual violence results in severe physical, psychological, and social harm. Some victims resort to risky behaviors like substance abuse to cope with trauma. You even be having like underage children having to rely on substance abuse just because they're trying to forget everything that they've gone through. Before they even get to adulthood, this thing can reduce their ability to care for themselves and even others. Every 9 minutes, Child Protective Services find evidence for a claim of child sexual abuse. Every 9 minutes, they find a claim for it. Approximately 1 in 4 adult women were abused sexually as children. Experiencing child abuse it's just an eyesore. It's just so sad, and it has many long-term impacts on children that go through this, both psychologically, physically, and even in their mental health. It's so and all of this could lead to unplanned pregnancies. It could lead to chronic health conditions. It could lead to depression and PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. It could lead to substance abuse, even increased risk of suicide. Some of these kids just want to take their lives because they can't even stand it anymore. They are frustrated. They wonder what they even did to deserve this. Why would you even want to put any child or anyone through this? I wish every single person can just do something about it, because at the end of the day, it starts with both you and I. It starts with every single person listening. It's not something you just even leave to the authorities, because these days you can't even leave things and trust it in the hands of the authorities. They get to manipulate it. The system is not favoring anybody at this point. It's not even favoring the women at this point. Sometimes we just have to take it into our own hands and just do whatever it is we can do to protect people around us. Protect the kids, protect women, just protect people that are very vulnerable to things like this. Anyways, I spoke to someone in the Dorothy Injumanzi Foundation that went through child sexual abuse for 7 years in the hands of her uncle. She's going to give us a breakdown of how all of that transpired, what it did to her, and where she is right now mentally, in her life. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Good evening. How are you? How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So tell us what brought you here.
I'm a victim of rape. I was raped by my uncle. since I was 14 years. And for the period of 7 years, he was abusing me.
For 7 years?
Yes.
Were you staying with him?
Yes, I was staying with him. I had to stay with him after the death of my mother.
Okay.
I got to know this place from a friend who connected me with the organization, and then I was brought here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about the rape.
Okay.
Give me a backstory on that.
Okay.
How did it start? When did it start?
Okay. So in 2014,
You were how old?
I was 14 going to 15 at that time.
Okay.
Yes. My mom died in 2012. So I stayed with my dad for a year. Then I had to leave because I'm the firstborn and the only girl. So I have other siblings. So I had to leave so that he can take care of the other ones while I go stay with my mother's
Whose decision
family.
was that? Was that yours or was that your dad?
My dad and my uncle too said I should come.
Okay.
And they were the ones that suggested. My dad saw, because since we are family, I could go stay with him.
Yeah.
So when I got there, at that age, 15, I was still bedwetting. So he said the reason why I was still bedwetting at that age was because I was still a virgin.
That's what your uncle told you?
Yes. So that he wanted to help me. That was how it started. But I told him that it wasn't right. And he said that's what they told him. A friend told him that the reason why she's still bedwetting is because she's still a virgin, that her hymen needs to be broken. So at night he will come force me. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I'll just notice my pants has shifted. So from up to down, like that, started like that. Every night will come until I got tired of struggling and gave into it. So like that, it continued. At some point in 2017, I spoke to his other siblings, my other aunties and uncles, and they settled it the family way. They called him, they called me, and asked him if what I said was true. He said yes. Then he cried. Everybody cried. Then they said they just swept it under the carpet. And
was your dad aware?
At that time?
Yes, was your dad aware?
Not fully. The only information we gave my dad was my uncle wanted to marry me. Because he also said he wants to marry me, that we should run away together and have our children. So that was what we just told my dad, because my dad has high blood pressure. Okay. I didn't want to, he's the only one I have.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to bring the news and it will affect his health. So I didn't tell him all the full story. So I left the house and went to stay with a friend in church.
Was this after the family meeting?
After
the family
meeting.
So you left?
I left. I went to stay with a friend in church, a lady. After like 2 months, my uncle came and advised me. He knows how to talk to me. So he spoke to me and convinced me. I went back. He helped me pack my load, helped me with my load and took me back to the house. And then it continued again until 2020 when I met Dorothy in Germancy Foundation in December. And I need to put that this my uncle is a pastor. He's a founder of his own church, Pool of Siloam Assembly, yes. And after doing such that he will go to church and preach and preach. And in 2020 December.
And you're attending the same church?
No. I attend Assemblies of God.
Okay.
Yes. And prior to the time I met Dorothy in Jemaze Foundation, I had terminated. My uncle had taken me to clinics, giving me concussion to terminate pregnancies.
Wow.
About 8 of them.
So you got pregnant 8 times?
Yes, that's the one I remember. So it's more than that. That's the one I knew I could count. Yes. Sometimes he will get drug. Sometimes he will get this herb that this Yoruba women sell. Yes. Sometimes he will take me to clinic, one in Jabi, one in Guagua, like that. So yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 23. In September, I'll be 24.
How long did this happen? How long did this go on for?
7 years.
7 years?
Yes.
So at what point did you come to Dorothy Foundation?
I came to Dorothy Foundation in December 2020.
2020?
Yes.
How has staying here affected you?
Okay, staying here had made me to know that, okay, there are so many girls out there that go through same thing. Had made me to realize because when I was with my uncle, I didn't know my rights, my self-esteem. I didn't have that. So coming here had made me have that, had given me some kind of boldness that you cannot come and try nonsense with me. Staying here had so many positive things. And presently, I work with the organization.
Okay.
Yeah. At some point when I came, I saw the need to intern with the organization. So I interned for some months. Then I stepped in as the shelter administrator. So presently I'm the shelter administrator.
Amazing.
Yes.
How has this whole experience affected you? Has it changed you?
The rape experience.
What has it done to you? How has it changed your view on life? What has it done to you?
It has changed. I don't know how to put it.
Just say it the way it's coming. Just say it anyhow. Just say it. The way it's coming to your head, just say it.
It has traumatized me. It has made me, sometimes I might be here and not be here. I might be lost. It has made me to hate men. It has made me to not to trust people. It has made me to so many things.
One question I want to ask is, you said you're 24 now.
Yeah.
Have you been in any relationship? Or are you in any?
I used to be in one relationship. that was in 2019.
And
But it had to end because of my uncle. He was not comfortable with it.
oh, okay.
Yes.
While you were with him,
Yes.
while you were staying with him, you were in a
Yes.
relationship,
Yes.
and he made it end.
Yes. Since then, I have not been able to. I've not had that courage to be in a relationship.
To be in a relationship.
Because I don't trust. I don't know why. I just don't know why I can't give my heart to someone. But I just haven't been able to. It's not like I don't have suitors that have been coming, but I've not.
You just think the experience has just
Yes.
changed you in that way.
Yes.
What do you think can be done to change that? What do you think can be done?
Maybe therapy.
Maybe therapy?
Yes. Maybe if I talk to someone, I feel or think they
It would
might change. I don't know. I don't just know why, but I feel.
But you know,
reserved.
do you feel it's something that can be worked on? You think it's something that can be worked on?
Yes, I want to work on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what else? What else do you want? What do you want now from life? What do you want moving on?
I want to go back to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you stop school?
2019.
What class?
I was in 200 level, going to 300 level.
Okay.
In National Open University here in Abuja. Yes, I was studying biology.
Okay.
Yes.
Who was paying?
I was paying.
You're paying for yourself, so
Yes.
you were working.
I was working at the time. And then our work stopped. There was no money. Because my uncle that claimed that he was training me I was not paying house rent.
Wow.
I had a business I was doing at that time. I had a supermarket, which he was boasting, but that's that he was the one that opened it for me.
The rest it was yours.
Yes. So I was paying house rent, I was paying my school fees and everything, but the job ended.
So that's why you couldn't further your education,
Yes.
right?
And since then I've not been able to gather money to
go back to
continue.
school.
Yes. So now I want to go back to school.
Yeah. Any other thing?
Yeah, I also need accommodation, because where my dad and my other siblings stay is not okay.
Okay. Are they here in Abuja?
Yes, they are.
Okay. How many siblings do you have again?
I have 3 other siblings.
Okay. How old are they?
21-year-old, 19-year-old, and 10-year-old.
Okay. Are they in school?
Yes, two of them are in secondary school.
Okay.
The other one has graduated, is waiting for admission now.
Okay.
Yes.
So you also said something about you said you're working for
The organization.
and you also said you want to go back to school. You're trying to gather money.
Yes.
So my question is, do you feel like you would need maybe? I mean, you're still working and you're still trying to gather the money. So of course the money is not enough.
Yes.
Are you okay with your present job, or do you think you need more for you to make more money to send yourself back to school?
I think I need more to send my.
You need more in what
yes,
aspects?
because the money that we are paid is, we are given stipend, which is used for salary, for recharge card.
Okay.
That's what it's used for.
So of course it's not enough.
It's not enough.
Okay.
So for the period of going to a year now that I've been working with the organization, I've not been able to save anything. because most of the money that we were giving was used for recharge card. So I would like to have more. I would like to get a better job or better salary.
Yes. But you also understand the fact that, with better salary, with the organization having to do a lot of things. So even the organization needs funding and things to sustain it.
Yes.
Because without all of that, it's also going to be difficult to cater to the needs of people and also pay staff.
I do understand. That's why I've been able to endure for this long. Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words? Anything you'd want to say? Final words, something?
I want to tell Dorothy Njemanze Foundation, thank you for coming to my aid.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me a shelter. They don't allow me to lack. Yes, from my soap, deodorant, like that, tissue, clothes, everything. And I want to say thank you, that I'm grateful.
Okay. And then any final words to any young person that might be listening?
I want to say to any young person, if you're going through any kind of violence, any kind of abuse, please speak up. Don't wait for the period of years I waited before speaking up. Please speak up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
This is sitting down to even listen to these stories is very overwhelming. Like, I really give kudos to the Dorothy Njemanze Foundation, because what they are really doing over there is amazing. It's amazing. Like, I always call Dorothy, I call Dorothy superhuman, because having to sit down and listen to women share these stories, which is one thing that really inspires me to keep doing my podcast, because I know that there are so many stories that are untold, and I really cannot wait to just, I can't talk to every single person in the world, but at the end of the day, I can just do my own beats to talk to as many people as I can and have them share their stories so people can actually hear what people are going through. Hear what my guest said on how she was molested as a 14-year-old. How do you manipulate a child into believing that the reason she's bedwetting is because she's a virgin and you would help her out of it? The heart of men are desperately wicked. It's because it's wickedness to manipulate a child like that, a child they trusted in your care. You manipulate her and then you molest her for 7 years. And in these 7 years, you made her abort over 8 pregnancies. This is crazy. Like, I can't even begin to wrap my head around it. It's crazy. It's very sad. It's very painful. That's another thing. It's very painful making a child go through this. Like, what has she ever done to deserve it? Because really, there are so many people in the world. Trust me, there's a man for every woman and there's a woman for every man. Anyhow you want to get it, anyone you're looking for, if you go about it the right way, you will get anybody you want to get. If it's to satisfy your sexual desires, you can always get it through consent. You don't have to do it through a minor. You don't have to force people into it. It's crazy because anyways, I really hope, sitting back at home and listening, we have we're understanding what some women have to put up with, what they have to go through. Imagine having to abort like over 8 pregnancies, what that can do to your womb as a woman. Imagine what all of that can do to the young girl psychologically, mentally, how that could damage her mentally, and that could, twist her perception of men, growing up. I mean, one thing I'm really happy about, with listening to my guest is how she said she knows that she can actually be helped, like, through therapy. She knows that it can help her of, that state she's in right now mentally, because she really needs and deserves all the help she can get. She also really wants to go back to school. She wants to get her life together. She wants to, be able to, because she's alone, so she wants to be able to work, make money. Please, 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 I am pleading, I am begging, any way we can support this foundation with helping these women, helping these girls, helping these kids, whatever thing we can do to support. It doesn't matter if it's money you want to give to the foundation to help them, if it's provisions, if it's sponsoring maybe a couple of kids in school, whatever it is. Please let us try and just do it, because we can only do our own bits in the world. Whatever it is that we can do, one person at a time, we can just give back to the society, just help people out of it, because truthfully, so many people are going through a lot and they don't have anywhere to turn to, they don't have anyone to help them. So please, let's just do that. So this was our guest on child sexual abuse. I hope we've been able to pick one or two things from it also. And please, even as parents, as guardians, as a society, we can also play our part in helping children. If you know and you're suspecting anything, if you see anything weird, anything awkward with an underage child you think might be in danger, anything, don't just, because I know we are used to just saying things and saying, oh, it's none of my business, I'll just remove my face and move past it. Please, at the end of the day, it could happen to anybody. It could be anybody's child, it could be anybody's relative, it could be anybody we know, it could be anybody. So let's just try and always intervene, whatever it is we can do to help people that are going through these situations. Whatever, we also have, as parents also, we also have to have a very safe environment for our kids, where our kids can actually confide in us and tell us things that are happening. Let's not downplay or water down, some situations or some things or some important topics you are supposed to discuss with your child, and your child is not even comfortable with discussing some things with you. You are having relative or people around telling your child, if you tell your parents, if you tell one thing, I will do this, I will do that. Let your child be very comfortable, where even if they are being threatened by somebody else not to speak up or not to do anything, let your child be very comfortable to come to you as a parent and tell you what it is that is going on in their life. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Like I said, you can always reach out to me. Please, if you have anything to discuss on any topic whatsoever, you can reach out to me on all my social media platforms, and I would put out your story. We will talk about it. And if you also want to help assist the Dorothy Njimanzi Foundation, there are other foundations also you can reach out to. It's just that this time I spoke to the Dorothy Njimanzi Foundation, and these women I have spoken to are in the Dorothy Njimanzi Foundation. So please, if you can reach out to the Dorothy Njimanzi, I'm sure you can find them on, if you Google them, you can find them. If you check them on Twitter, if you check them on Instagram, I think you can also find them there. Dorothy Njimanzi Foundation. You can also reach out to me. If you can't reach out to them directly or you can't find them, you can reach out to me directly and I would connect you to them. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate. Please put the word out there. Let people listen. Let people learn from it. And I'm also open to feedbacks, whatever suggestions, anything anybody wants to, reach out to me on. I'm always open to listen to it. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Flora Chiedo. This is Bold and Beautiful with a Glass of Wine podcast, and I am signing out.